We met over there. There's an issue at the end of that street.
It's a big issue.
Well, it's on both of them. The church is talking about possibility of extending on over to Broad Street and closing that street between their building and the parking lot. And then when you get down on the other end, the issue that we had, Tex, you may have been over there with us with Dick. The property line down there. Do you remember, were you over there when we looked at that?
That's church.
Yeah, going in right there by,
Mr. Farmer.
Gadsden Farmers.
That was me, Terry and I were
Terry, okay. And it is way over in
there.
that,
Touches the side of his
yeah,
carport.
to the carport, right to the corner of the carport, and then on the other side, Miss Fain's side of it,
It comes into the.
yeah, that's gonna have to be addressed coming in and doing that street.
But we need to, because we have so much traffic now coming in there for the dock. So we need to address that, that's why I asked for that.
Yeah, let's look at that and see, and
Okay, Larry can't just give us a price,
I
we
know
can't
that.
do this, so to give us what Councilman Washington has, it will be over the amount that I can do without, I guess, the council directing me to do so. That's what I'm trying to say.
let's get an estimate from him as to,
A preliminary pre-design
Yeah, yeah.
estimate. Okay, that's different than what
Preliminary
Councilman
design.
Washington has.
Yeah, that's what I asked for.
Okay. He might, Larry may have something done. He was here that night.
I guess, go back to chicken or the egg here, there's a cost, there was a cost, I guess, associated, if you don't mind, associated with compiling this, yes or no?
Yes,
You don't work for free.
absolutely, there's a cost.
And it's that start and stop that costs you more in the long run. So if we can combine all these up, again, I know what the vote was, and I have no personal qualms with this, but I know Green Street, for instance, it's got that terrible spot where they cut that culvert in, but I tell you, most days I don't want to say something about it because it acts like it slows them down somewhat coming down that hill. They turned it into a racetrack. There's a spot out there at Eagle Creek, the deceleration lane. I mean, I think we all have a couple of streets that add up to being able to spend the entire amount efficiently once, than 5 different projects inefficiently at 5 separate times.
it wouldn't affect what the price he's giving you, because his price is gonna be based on, I think his figure is 8% of the construction cost. So,
He doesn't get paid for it gets constructed, or he still gets paid to come out
He
and do
gets
this?
paid when
he gets paid when
Yes.
he enriches that.
He's gonna get paid engineering fees.
That's where I'm going with this. Paying engineering fees to get all of this field work done, and then we know that there's still a percentage based upon the construction, but that comes back to what can we then afford? I mean, that's the only issue I have with this project, that project, and this project, and this project.
But I thought that's what we discussed 6 weeks ago,
Yeah.
that that's what was gonna be done, because we said, I believe we said that if we could all get it together at one time, and I think we go back on the tapes that Linda keeps and look, but I think if you'll remember, we discussed, and that was one of the reasons I think, Mr. Washington, that we voted it down that night, was to go back and get it all at one time, and then we'd bring it back to the table. I think we talked about that, and I said that it hadn't been done, so I don't want, I brought it back to the table too.
Some of it has been done, just like, I think what we said to the council members, if you have problems in your district, tell us where those problems are. Right now, there's a problem on Janet Street, and I think I sent something out in your packet, that we were looking at that and dealing with that, as to what the cost would be of, fixing that. If you want Mr. Jarvis to do an assessment what you identify in your district, or do you want us to just go out there and look at all of it? And do an assessment of, you know, what we've got. You shared with me something down on Ross Road, or a problem that,
From the car team, yes.
that he has down there, so, maybe it's time, to get this assessment. We used to get it when we had a paving committee. And, but let's just do that.
Mayor, let me say something. It's been 3 months. Everyone sitting around this table, same thing, same song you singing now, you sung it again. Councilman Holt, that's right. Same streets were there 3.5 years ago, in each one of our districts, I'm there, okay? I'm responsible for District 2. Mine is there to do it. Any other council person has a street, need to be done, you had 3 months to present it to the mayor. And Councilman Holt said, some time ago, she asked for this street there, nothing was done. I'm asking that we put this on the agenda, vote, put it out to bid, the rest of other council person that has some streets that need to be done, go ahead and do this. This will be another 3 months. This was done November 21st, 2011. No other council person as of right now, I don't have anything on the agenda from any other district as to having a street. Now, why all the council persons keep coming up about District 2? Tell me why. The money's there. It's not like you got to take something from another project to pay for it. The money's there. The clerk told us what was there at the first meeting we had concerning this to do the job. Has other streets been paid? Anything come up? No. Now, I need somebody to tell me why you don't want to pay these streets.
2 questions. If you were to take the amount that we have in road fund, the paving fee, and divide it by 5, what would that figure be?
I don't know. You tell me.
That's what I'm asking the
Okay,
clerk.
what have we got in there?
As of today, February the 1st bank balances, there was $258,687. And of that, $80,000 was budgeted for street lights during the year.
So that's already committed. You've got to deduct that from that figure.
So what does that leave us
So
with?
that leaves 178,680.
And divide that by 5. It don't come up to the
30-something.
82,335 that's needed if we're going to be fair and equitable in this. The other question I have is that...
No. Mayor,
I had 2
you don't
questions,
want-
2 questions. You can follow up, 2 questions.
Sure.
The second was, if we know for a fact that these streets were paved 12 years ago, how can we justify the need for them to be paved now? If they were paved 12 years ago, and curb and gutter was put in at that time. Do we know that to be a fact?
Yes.
To your first question, each time that I put this up, you have something negative to say.
Correct.
Okay? Okay.
Because it's not
Let me
fair and
finish.
it's not
I-
equitable.
May I finish, sir? I listen to you. You have something negative to say each time that it comes up. This is money that's paid in taxes, okay? 12 years ago, okay? So if you don't think that they need to be paid, that's your opinion. My opinion, I know that they need to be paid because you're the young cracks. They are deteriorating. Mr. Jarvis stated that. Lots of it's got to be milled up because other administration came in a few years ago, paid on top, and it's up to the curb. This has been the problem. Now let me set you straight now, sir. I'm asking, you're talking about the equity and fair, do it 5 ways. There are some streets in here that don't have any streets and need to be paid as a man. And if you want to be equitable and fair, if you want it to be, but evidently you do not. You've proven that time and time again.
That's your opinion. But
Yes.
move along.